Fifth Arizona Hat Homestead. It's like 32 degrees today. It snowed a little last night, but it's all melting. So, because it's nice and partly sunny right now. So, but what I want to talk about today is these portable buildings. And I've had my portable building up for a while now, and I thought maybe I want to give a review on the portable building. I want to point out a couple of things about these portable buildings. They're fantastic buildings. Super easy because you don't have to like build them. You just buy them and they deliver. Most important, they are technically a portable building, not intended for residential use, which means you can move them. So let's take a look at some of the issues that I've noticed with some of these portable buildings. There's not too many, but there's a couple of them I do want to point out. Water drops. Here in my barn. Continues on down there. All these water drops are from the ridge vent. I don't know how well you're going to see this, but as I zoom in, see the water on that screen? The water either evaporates, or when it gets too much, it falls through and hits the floor. So here's what's happening with this water. That ridge vent, when you have snow, and as some of you may know, and some of us from Arizona don't know, but I'm learning, snow goes everywhere. You're talking about snow drifts? Well, snow actually will drift in areas that you will never imagine that it got into. And what's happening is the snow is actually getting up underneath the ridge vent, getting on that screen, and then it obviously melts when the sun comes up, and then I start to have droplets falling down on my floor, which is not a good thing when you're expected to be in a watertight building. Under the Graceland portable buildings that have ridge vents, that is something to consider. If you have a ridge vent and you're in an area that snows, you may want to consider what may happen. You may end up with water. And it's a nice line right along the ridge vent. Look at that there. Some fresh drops. Another thing to consider on these portable buildings is the board that they put on these sides. You're going to probably have this even if you do it, but if you build it yourself, you can at least maybe add some liquid nail or something just to help keep it from bowing out. But basically, this here really isn't even wood. It's more that press stuff. And they just put that on the corners. This here is T111, but on these corners they use a different material on these corners here. So far this building has been pretty good, because I kind of expected right in here for this to break away, and it's not. So far I'm getting pretty lucky as far as this goes. But I am noticing a few areas where it does separate. Now the problem with that is now water gets up inside there, and water and wood doesn't really go well. That's how things start to rot and even mildew in some areas. So yeah, let's see what else is that I can show you about these buildings. Now, I highly recommend on these buildings that you repaint the buildings. They come with already painted. However, I noticed on these edges, without anything rubbing against them, they are the paint's coming off. And I've noticed not so much on my particular building, but I've also noticed on some of the others that the paint will fade really quickly in the sun. And so you probably want to paint your building. Now on these windows, Again, this is the same material that's on the sides, and this here all looks pretty good. Up on top really started to separate, and I put some caulking up in there. So probably putting some caulking all around the window sill here, the window framing, would probably be a good idea. You can kind of see how the water is just caked up right in here, and it started to swell up this this wood. And look at this. I didn't even do anything to that. So you probably want to do some caulking, maybe even caulking right in here. I didn't caulk down in here, but I probably should though. You know, like this guy up in here, he's coming apart up on top. I put some caulking up on top, but he's beginning to come apart, which kind of makes sense. The rain comes, it hits this, it comes down, so it's going to obviously go inside there. And there was no caulking, any kind of sealant right there, so I added some to that top. So now the doors on these sheds, on these portable buildings, they have standard doors, and then they also have what's called barn doors. Barn doors are what I've got. And on the barn doors, they have this tension rod here, or tension screw, or whatever you call it. And one thing I've noticed about it is the screws up here actually came out, and I had to put new screws in. The screws that were in there were like tiny, so I don't know how much longer they would have lasted, but they were pretty small screws. Now, the one problem that I have with this is this thing here keeps loosening. So I don't know if it's because of the wood swelling and shrinking and swelling and shrinking during the weather. You know, your moisture, you know, your humid days and your non-humid days, or what the deal is. But I find that this thing ends up loosening a lot. Same thing with the one down there in the bottom. And so I'm always having to tighten it, which is kind of a pain. Now, I think that's why those screws came off, because it kept working itself back and forth and just worked the screws loose. So what I would probably do, what I may just do, is at some point in time is actually put a wooden crosspiece on the door and get rid of these. So they do have this piece here, which is very helpful. Nice 2x6 piece here. But yeah, these, see, look how loose that is. So I try to tighten it practically every other day, basically. So, but what else on these doors here? One thing also with the doors, on these type of handles here, this guy here, you want to put something on here. I'm going to get a tennis ball and drill a hole in it, stick the tennis ball on this, because this door kind of swings a little bit, and it's hit me a couple of times, and just in the wrong spot in the back and the sides and things, and so it hurts. So I think I'll have to one of these days put a tennis ball on there. Also, what happens though is when the door closes, up here on top, can't really see it well, but up here on top, right about here, you can kind of see how it bows out a little bit. Well, what happens is the rain hits this building so much that it ends up just warping stuff. And then what you end up with is, even though the door is closed, water still gets in. So I don't have any kind of roofing on this, or I don't have any kind of a roof over the doors, but I'm going to have to add one, because water's getting in through the door. It's actually getting in right there, and it's going in through the door. Now keep in mind, these are portable buildings, so they're not intended to be lived in. They're really intended just to store things, be a shed type of thing. But I know a lot of people use these structures as actual living quarters. They turn them into little tiny homes. So I'm just kind of giving you a review of these portable buildings and some of the things that I run into with the portable buildings, so you know what to look for and to help better maintain yours. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked the video, go ahead and give it that good old thumbs up thing and share the video with others. If you haven't already done so, go ahead and subscribe and check out my other videos. I love reading your comments, so if you haven't done so, go ahead and make your comments. My name is Jeff, and you've been watching Arizona Hot Homestead.